Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial by SToby. In this I'm going to go through everything that is to do with basic forestry. This will be a part of a this is part of a multi-part series where I'm going to go through every single component of forestry in the order that you're meant to do it. Because surprisingly, forestry has a progression system, which sounds odd because it's a mod about bees, and so they don't usually, but anyway. So the first thing you need to know in forestry is you need to go out and you need to mine up some copper ore and some tin ore. This allows you to do this recipe. This is the default recipe. I 100% think that this would have changed in the mod pack that you're playing, because this is actually a really OP recipe. But 3 copper, 1 tin makes 4 bronze. This allows you to make the basic bronze for the mod, and will allow and is used in most of these basic machines. The next thing you need to make is this Clockwork Engine, which is made like so. This is the default recipe. This is just a produces power, and all you have to do is you just right click it until it gets to now, and then you have to stop. If you go any further than that, you will start taking damage, so don't right click it any further than that. And then this thing makes a basic amount of power, which will power most of these machines, the other basic machines. The next thing is you need to get is the Right, so the first machine you need to get is you need to get the Carpenter. Well, the most basic machines you need to get are the Carpenter, the oh, if I can find it, the Squeezer, and the Thermionic Fabricator. Those are the 4 machines that you will 100% need. And that will be all the machines you need for forestry. There are also other ones, so there is the bottler. This takes any fluid input and puts it into cans or buckets. The centrifuge takes any honeycombs and spins them, and it may have other recipes in your mod pack. The fermenter takes an input liquid, combines it with other substances and creates an output. This is usually used, this is for upgrading fuels, so let's say you've got an automatic bee setup, or an automatic water and some farms. You can use it to make biomass, which you can then burn in these other 2 generators. And then you can use the moistener for when put in darkness and given water, when given darkness and put in water, it will take in wheat and other crops and will slowly degrade to mulch, and you can use this degradation to make the mossy items, and you can also produce the output mulch in making bog earth and humus. Humus acts like a fertile soil. Bog earth turns into peat when it put next to a water source, so it will eventually just turn into peat, and then the peat you can burn in a normal furnace or the peat fired engine. The squeezer squeezes items into liquids, so that will take like fruit and seeds, and then the still takes oil, and in this mod, and it will refine biomass into ethanol, but also apparently in this one you can use it for refining canola oil. The Thermionic Fabricator, which is the one I forgot from the first time, is used to make these Electron Tubes, which I'll go through their purpose later because you don't quite need them yet. And all these machines are, and also there's the work table, which is an auto crafter, so that just does your crafting for you. And all these machines can be used to power the last 2 genera engines. So the Biogas Engine is one of them. This takes in lava, which you'll get from, you might use a pump in the nether, is the most common method of getting lots of lava. And then you combine that with any of these liquids, and that will produce power, and each different liquid produces a different amount of power depending on how hard it is to get. And then the peat-fired engine obviously fires peat, so it takes in peat and produces ash when it burns peat. The next two are the last things that are in basic forestry, or at least that I want to cover. There are other things like stamps and posts, but these are all the basic machines that I want to go through. This is mostly decorative, and you've got like the rain tank, which just makes water. So the two types of farms is you've got the small ones. Now I recommend always use managed. I don't know why you'd use manual ever, just use managed. And all these farms take water from, e.g. a rain tank, take soil. So if you actually dig out this, it will give the thing enough soil. And in this case, I'm using an arboretum, so it will take saplings. There are other types of these, if I can find them along here. This is JAI, by the way, if you want to download it to find all the stuff in your pack and find all the recipes, it's useful. But you can see here, you've got all the different farms. So you've got the peat bog, which makes the peat, which goes in the peat-fired engine. You've got crops, ender lilies, and all the different types of farm. Also, there's these wood piles which make charcoal. So there's other stuff in the mod, but it's not really important to basic forestry. And this takes fertilizer, which is made, well, it either takes fertilizer, which is made from apatite, which you can mine out the ground, or it takes compost, which is made from wheat and dirt, or ash and dirt. Ash, remember, is from burning peat, or barley, apparently. Basically crops and dirt, and that gives you compost. This can be used here too. And what it does is it will automatically, dig up this ring here, you can see. We'll replace it, we'll use the dirt and the fertilizer to replace it with this mulch. It will also consume fertilizer as it runs. So you can see here I've just got an infinite source of fertilizer going into it. And this will produce, well, in this case it produces wood and apples because it's a tree, but it will produce whatever the farm grows, depending on which farm you use. And it needs power as well. The other one is pretty much exactly the same, apart from it's bigger and has a multi-block. So the first thing you need to do with this one, also this one gets spillage around the edge, because when it breaks the trees and the leaves hang over the edge, they drop on the outside. So you might want to put some hoppers on the outside to pick up this, but you don't really need it, it's sufficient enough. So what this needs is these farm blocks. Now these can be made. Now these need the electron tubes, so I'm actually going to, as these have become relevant, I'm going to go over the electron tubes before introducing this. So the electron tubes are made in the Thermionic Fabricator, and the Thermionic Fabricator works by, if you give it power, it will heat up, it will then melt down sand or glass into liquid glass, and then it will use this with this recipe, and you need to put in the recipe and the items here. It will make the electron tubes, and then if you take out a soldering iron, you can take these circuit boards, which are made in the Carpenter using water and redstone. See, I told you the Carpenter, you'd need the Carpenter. And you need to use these intricate circuit boards. You open it up, you put them in there, and then you take it into farm. And you then take these electron tubes, and if you shift on the electron tubes, it will tell you, for example here, it tells you, this will make this thing a reed farm, or a crop farm, or this one will turn it into a manual, or into an arboretum. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to set all 4 slots in this circuit. So let's actually, in this case, I'm just going to turn it to another arboretum, because that's what it is already. So you put it in, and you can see it takes it in. So you'll need 4, but isn't it lucky that one recipe makes 4? And put it in, and then that will program the circuit, and then you plug that into there, and then there you go. So you can see this has now told it that all 4 of these slots should be an arboretum. To set the trees, you just put the correct saplings in here, This is the input slot for dirt. You can see you've got the same fertilizer, the same water. This one also needs power. But to input all these items, you need to build this multi-block. So it's built out these farm blocks, which need the electron tubes, and then these can be turned into, for example, the gearbox, which takes in power. So if I actually take this away and break this, you can see there's a gearbox behind it. You can use the hatch, which takes in and outputs items. You can use the valve, which is round in front of this, in front of the infinite water source. This one takes in water for the farm, which is needed for its running, like the manual one. And the farm control, which you can put on a lever and will turn the farm on and off according to your redstone signal. And then you need to build this out in the multi-block it tells you, so 3 by 3 by 4 up. So like I've done here, and then if you go into the forestry manual here, the forester's manual, which is just a sapling and a book, and you go into farming and farm layouts, you can see it will give you the image of the different farms you can build. Right here I've got the smallest one right here, which is tiny, but it is actually really efficient. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to grow saplings up into trees, which you can then harvest. Now, all of these together can be also, good thing about forestry, which is what I was getting onto, is all of these farms, this and this, all together can be used. Why are you not working now? Apparently they get decreased efficiency in the rain, which I didn't expect. But all of these farms together can be used to fully automate lots of things, and I think if you scroll to the end of the playlist, it should have some automatic farms which I've pre-constructed and pre-designed for use. So that's everything in basic forestry. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you loved this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of the next video. Adios.